Hey there, YouTube fishermen. Welcome to McGerkFish65 Outdoors. Today we're in Lake County, Florida, fishing the Palatlakaha River boat ramp down there what's called Brown's Ford. We're located off Route 44 near Groveland in Lake County. This is a pretty good area to fish. If you take a look by the camera shot behind me and see out here, you've got the river and the creek that runs up here, several feeder canals, and they turn and go under a bridge. And they go down to a series of canals over into the various lakes around here, and it eventually feeds into Mineola and Minnehaha and the Claremont chain of lakes. This is a really neat area. If you take a look, like even down here inside the water, you'll see a bedding area already for some bluegills. They spawn this time of the year in the summer. And you see that darkened patch down inside the bottom there. That's where bluegills fan out and spawn. So we're right over here next to the boat ramp facility. State built this a couple years ago. It's really nice. It's called Arnold Brothers Boat Ramp. So what we're going to do basically is fish a couple lures around here, see what we can hit. There's some pads and bulrushes and that sort of thing. We got a nice wind current today, and it's built by some thunderstorms that are going to come in through here, so there's a front pushing through. A lot of times fish will hit in the approach of a front. So we're going to throw a few lures and see what we can do. Okay, so just sit tight. We'll be right back with you. Now, one of the best lures that you can use to cover water quickly is the spinnerbait. And if you take a look here, this is a small Strike King spinnerbait, willow leaf. Get up in the camera view here. It's a willow leaf, about a 1/4 ounce. I use gold and silver blades normally, and this is a chartreuse and red skirt with a red hook on my standard spinnerbait rod. So I'm going to cast out here a few times and see what we can do. Just throw up near those pads and retrieve back. See what hits, if anything. Water's got a tannic acid cast to it, so it's not too hard to fish because fish won't see us easily. So throwing out there, we're going to cast beyond our target, which are those pads over there on the right side of your screen, and see if we get something to hit. Still summertime. Actually, it's fall. First day of fall was a couple days ago. This is late September. It's almost October. So the water is still warm. It's still in the 80-degree range. Fish will be somewhat lethargic because of that, but they will start to feed soon in preparation for winter and the spawn, which will start within a couple of months. So in order to do that, they'll get active. We'll just try different casts around the boat ramp here. See if we can hit anything off the wrist brushes or off the corner here. Neat looking area. It's got a lot of covering stuff to it. A lot of times when guys bass fish and they keep fish just to photograph or whatever, they'll take them back and release them over by the boat ramp, which is where we are. So a lot of times you can just fish in these sort of areas and catch fish. So maybe we can just pop a few. We're going to try several lures that I know are usually effective for bass. Spinnerbait being one, plastic worm. Try crankbait and a small spinner on ultralight. It's been tough lately to catch fish. We haven't really hit anything. The past couple weeks we tried, but they should turn on shortly. We'll get fish one way or the other. And I'm sort of slow rolling this bait. I'm not really fishing it rapidly like Jimmy Houston does across the top of the water. I'm just kind of rolling it down under the surface, a little bit slow, trying to make the rod tip vibrate. And a lot of times you get fish to hit as the lure vibrates and just slowly settles along. Spinnerbait doesn't really resemble any natural bait in the water, but what it does is it creates flash like a bait fish does when it turns through the blades and through the skirts motion. Action like this tends to irritate a fish into striking. They don't hit a spinnerbait so much more for feeding action as they do reflex. So cast beyond your target. I'm just reeling along the bottom. I'm doing what Roland Martin says to do, and bumping the stump, or bumping areas as I go along with the bait. A lot of times that causes the blades to reflect differently, and that invokes a strike. And spinnerbaits are very weedless. We're using a 45-pound strand braided line on this particular rod. It can go through heavy cover. So if you see down the camera shot, it's hard to see here. I'm actually going over and through lily pads. The spinnerbait's fairly weedless because it is safety pin shaped. See, this bait will roll over the cover because of its safety pin design. So you can go right through the pads and rushes with it and not hang up. I'm take some shots off of this point over here. I'm standing on the boat ramp itself. If you take a look down, that's where I'm at. It is actually on the boat ramp. So fishing this cover right in front of me here. So I can get one to hit. All the way across the creek. And Christine, the camera girl, is working her other job today, so she's not with me, so I got to do this by myself. So I'm kind of doing a GoPro angle with a camera. And braided line casts a long ways, very little resistance on the guides. Well, here's something was chasing some small minnows out of the water here. So I'm just going to cast over that way. Might be alligator or something like that, but you never know, it might be a bass. Like I said, I got that spinnerbait going right under the surface. If you can see it there, it's hard to see down with the camera. Now, if you can see down in the water here, I'll try to zoom in. It's hard to do with all the cameras going, but there's a lot of small fish in the water. They look like a bluegill fry. Probably just spawned not too long ago on the full moon, which is just a couple days ago. So they're down here in the water. Bass will easily come in and feed on them. So hopefully we can trigger something here. I moved up onto the boat dock now, so I'm going to try a plastic worm here for a little bit, or it's a Senko type bait. Basically a Senko with a U-tail on it, you know, June bug color. So it's black grape with green glitter. It's real popular in Florida. You can take a look at it right here. Just got it Texas rigged with a red hook, mustad offset hook, and a 16th ounce lead, not using much weight at all. But casting this kind of across the creek, and see if there's anybody on the bottom that'll hit it. And what I'm going to end up doing is come up working over these lily pads. You'll see them right here in front of me. I'm just going to set the camera down here on the dock railing. So if I hit one, it's going to be kind of a violent jerk. But same thing I showed you guys about worm fishing in a video posted not too long ago. You just work the rod in small motions. Just kind of hop the bait along the bottom. I said 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock basically with the rod motion on that video, but since I'm fishing up here above on a boat dock, you can't really do that, so you keep it down low still. We cast that, let it sink down to the bottom. You know it's on the bottom when the line falls back to you in the slack in a big loop. So all we do is just bring it and hop it, kind of. If a fish hits that line's going to jump, or you get a big tug, or it'll slowly move off to the side. Sometimes they can pick it up without being detected, plastic worm, because they'll flare their gills and suck in the worm with negative water pressure. And you won't even feel it. You'll just all of a sudden see your line move off to the side as the fish is swimming away with the bait. And that's when you hit them. So I'm coming through here right now in these pads. I'm right in the middle of them. So if fishy is down in there, this is Texas rigged, it's very weedless, it'll go right through that stuff, so should be able to get it. Guy fishing down here from me. Alright, I'm going to change lures here real quick. What I'm going to use is a topwater weedless frog. It's made by one of my sponsors, Topwater Blowups. And it'll be easy to fish through these pads in areas like that. And I'm just crouched down low here so I can get the bait in the camera view because I want to see how to tie this knot, or show you how to tie it. I'm going to tie a Palomar knot. So what you do is basically stick the line through the eye of the bait and double it back. So basically you put a loop of line through the eye of the bait. Get the bait out of here and untangle it. Okay? If you see here. Okay? Now what I'm going to do with this line is take this loop that's on my thumb. I'm going to tie the first knot, or an overhand knot, or a hitch, half hitch, like when you tie your shoe. Okay, so the bait's hanging down, you got this loop here, and the standing end line and the tag end in the other hand. Take the bait, pass it through that loop, and pull it down tight. And grab the hook, pull it through like that, and grab the standing end and the tag end, and just cinch it up. Now this is a 45-pound braid. Like I said, this is Strand Super braid, but a Palomar knot you can tie with braid. Of course, use sharp scissors to cut braid, because it's made out of Kevlar. It's very difficult to cut. So we're going to try this topwater frog here, see what we can do with that. This is an excellent bait to fish in lily pads and area like this. It's very thick with cover. So we'll see what we can do. I'm going to get my face back in the camera here. I was just trying to show you guys the bait itself and how to tie it. But we'll make a couple casts with this. It's overcast right now, where topwater strike is usually a little better. So we'll give it a whirl, see what we can do. Now again, I'm fishing this on my spinnerbait rod. That same, it's a Falcon medium action that I use. I like that for spinnerbaits because it has a fair amount of flexible tip, and that makes doing those underhand casts like Jimmy Houston likes to do easier. In spinnerbait, you really want the rod to flex a little bit when the bass strikes so that he can hook himself, or she can't either. The same thing with this bait. So since it's topwater, we want the fish to actually hook itself. So we're going to give it a hook set. What we're going to try to do here is work it through. When the fish strikes, hesitate for a second before you set the hook and allow yourself to feel the fish first. So if you look down there in those pads, we're fishing it right through the holes in the pads. This bait is very weedless. It'll go through anything. You won't hang it up. And you can see I'm going down through the holes in the pads with it. It goes right across the top. Really amazing for that. It hangs up a little bit there, but see, it comes right loose. So we're going to make a long cast down these pads. Way down the creek there. You can see that. And try to fish it across the top. It's hard to get the dock railing out of the view here, so I'm trying to just kind of get a fixed view so you can see the bait working there. I think it's a little more over that way. See, with this bait, I'm hung up on the pads. Ever see it skips right across the top. That wasn't a really good cast. We'll do this again. See, I'll throw out here, and I'm going to work it across the top. Just like a Zara spook or a minnow, I kind of do a cadence and work the bait through the holes. Just looks like a frog is struggling to get through stuff. This would be a really effective bait if the bass are in the lily pads. And what they'll do is actually come up through those holes and strike that way. So if we get a strike here, it's going to be an awesome thing to see. Long cast down there. Bait's real heavy to throw a mile. You can see it out in the distance there. These are really good in hydrilla, milfoil, any type of matted grass. Topwater frog and its cousin bait, the rat, are really good for that sort of thing. Now let's throw it all the way across. You'll see that I think it's a sycamore tree or whatever over there by the bank. I don't think it's a cypress. But I'm going to throw up towards the trunk of that. Whoops, I got the tree itself. Shoot, I really got the tree. But it's weedless, so it comes loose. This thing casts so far, it's hard to judge. It's a very heavy lure, but a little hard to control. So, just gonna fish it across the creek here and see if anybody wants to hit it. This particular bait is white and chartreuse with orange on it. It's very attractive colors. But you just kind of pump it along and make it look like a struggling frog. See if I can get closer there. There, right up to the bank. I said in bass fishing, accurate casting is important. So I'm just going to move that out. See if there's some kind of big boy laying over there. That'd be so nice to get a strike on this thing on camera. And the storm clouds are kind of building overhead there. You'll see up this way. We may have to take cover in a little bit because the air temperature is dropping. You can feel the air pressure. If you fish a lot, you get accustomed to the way air feels. And if you feel air pressure drop, that sudden kind of chill in the air, it's best to get under cover because the thunderstorm probably ain't far away. I'm just kind of working that bait over through. Almost working like a Zara spook. I actually got it dancing back and forth. Sooner or later I'll get a tarpon or something like that to hit on this. We're over here by the bridge. The Route 44 goes over to Groveland. And that's where Palatlakaha Creek goes under the bridge. But I'm fishing down here. It's raining now. It just started raining on the water, as you can see it. And I'm gonna try to topwater frog all the way over in this patch. You can see them all the way on the other side of the river, the creek. Try to work through here. Sometimes rain triggers fish bite. So maybe I can get a couple here before I get chased out by lightning. If I see the first bolt of lightning, I'm out of here. Yeah, I guess you get that GoPro view. Even though I'm not using a GoPro camera, this is a Canon digital. But I got it around my neck. Now throw up towards the riprap there. Sometimes you can get a fish right up there. Oop, that's lightning overhead. I'm done. Well guys, the thunderstorm came in and chased me out. Once I heard thunder coming overhead, I got out of there. I was probably down there too long, but it's raining out now, so I think I'm gonna call it a day for the afternoon and head back to the house. So no fish today, but did get some interesting fishing area. Current runs down through that creek, so sooner or later fish are going to show up by that boat ramp and be able to catch some. So if you liked what you saw today, like and subscribe to the channel. Got some stuff coming up this weekend. Chamber of Commerce in Leesburg has a bass tournament on Lake Harris on the Harris Chain. We're going to go down there and cover it for YouTube and for McGerkFish65 Outdoors. So look forward to that. So until then, catch you next time. Good fishing. Like a Hellcat.